Alright guys, welcome back to your 70th tutorial, and this tutorial really isn't a tutorial at all. We're just going to be running the program that we built in the last two tutorials, and I actually did check for errors in the last video, and this program is built perfectly. Who would have guessed? And so it's ready to run. So let me go ahead and press this build and run, and show you guys how it works. So the very first thing it does is pop up a menu, and it gives us a choice. Press 1 to print out plain items, 2 for helpful items, press 3 to print out harmful items, and whenever you want to quit the program, press 4. So let's go ahead and print out 1, and this is going to print out the items that have no effect on our character. So press 1, go ahead and hit enter, and it's going to print out chair, a shoe, and a pencil, all with 0 effect on our character. So now let's go ahead and let's skip down to 3 or something. Hit 3, enter, and it's going to print out ninja, meth, and a dirty needle. So now let's go ahead and print 2, and whenever we hit 2 to print out the helpful items, it's going to print out fruit, candy, and soda. And now let's go ahead and press 4 to quit the program, and our program is going to end with an execution time of 49 seconds. How awesome is that? So one thing that I want to do, because it's just going to annoy me, is I want to add a new line right there and right there. So now whenever you run the program, it's going to, it just makes everything not bunched up into one line. So if you go ahead and hit 2, you can see that, it makes it a little bit better. So again, there's a lot of different formatting things that we can do, but, I just want to make sure it wasn't bunched together. So 2 prints out all the helpful items. If I go ahead and, hit 3, it'll print out all the harmful items, yada, yada, yada. So basically, I wanted to show you guys that this program does indeed work. I wasn't BSing you. And this is how you can build a program that works awesomely with a file, in this case, the object file or the objects.txt file. So let me talk you through how this program works one last time. The very first thing I want to mention is whenever you're building a program that takes a bunch of different functions, make sure to prototype your functions first and foremost. If you don't prototype your functions like this and try to run it, you're going to get an error message because it's going to come across this function and it's not going to understand what it means. So that's why you need to prototype your function. So once you have your functions prototype, let me run this, get that error message out of the way. Now that you have your function prototype, I'll tell you guys how this program works. The very first thing we wanted to do was display a menu to the user. And we wanted them to enter a number 1, 2, 3, or 4 depending on their menu choice. So what we did is we built a function to display that menu named getWhatTheyWant. And we took whatever they entered and we stored it in a variable called choice. And what this function did is it returned that variable choice. So it basically stored that number, either 1, 2, 3, or 4, in the variable what they want, because this number tells us what they want. So after that, we took that number and we first made sure it wasn't equal to 4, because remember 4 means they want to quit the program. So whenever they entered 4, this while loop ended and the program quit. So what this while loop did is said, alright, if they enter any number besides 4, go ahead and run this code right here, because that means that they want something. If they enter 1, it means they want plain items, 2 helpful items, 3 harmful items. So I said, alright, test this variable if they enter 1, 2, or 3. If they entered 1, call this function in display items with the parameter 1. If they entered 2, it means they want helpful items, so we're going to call display helpful items. And if they enter 3, we're going to pass in 3 on this display items function. So you're saying, alright, so the display item function obviously displays the proper items to them. So say we passed it the variable 2. Well, it calls the display items function with the parameter 2. It basically scrolls down here and calls display items. Now remember, display items, it just prints out something on the screen. It doesn't give us any integers or strings back, so we made that void. Now whenever we passed in 1, 2, or 3, it treated that variable as x. So x was pretty much their choice, 1, 2, or 3. So the very first thing that we did in this function is we opened that file because, all the crap that we needed was inside this file. So we opened that file and then we made 2 variables. We made a name variable to store the name of the object, and we made a power variable to store how much power that object had, whether it's 0, negative, or positive. We then tested what choice they wanted. Remember, if x, which is now the choice, is equal to 1, then it means they want to display the items with no power, the plain items. Whenever they entered the number 2, it means they wanted to display the helpful items, and helpful items just had a power greater than 0, so that's why we printed out the objects with a power greater than 0. Whenever they entered the number 3, it means they wanted to display the harmful items, the items that hurt our character. So we said, alright, we're going to test this power variable, and any object with a power variable that's less than 0, go ahead and print it out. So that is how our program works, and here's what I'm going to ask one of you guys to do. You guys probably want all the source code for this, so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy this and post it in my forum under the C++ section. So if you guys want, just go ahead and sign up. Actually, you don't even need to sign up for my forum, but I would prefer you did. Sign up for my forum, go look in the C++ section, and I'll post all the source code here. So if you guys, are getting an error in your program whenever you're working along, you can just go ahead and copy my source code, and it's all there for you guys. So thank you guys for watching so much. Hopefully you understand how this program works. If you don't understand, then don't flip out. All you need to do is go ahead, look at the source code, and once you see it all together, you guys can understand how it's all pieced together. So again, one last time, this is how you build a program that works perfectly with a file just like this. And with that being said, I want to say this. In this tutorial I showed you guys how to have the user, input a number and print out all the helpful items or harmful items. But whenever you're developing a game, instead of just printing it out on the screen, you would want, whenever your user comes across a helpful item to, make them get that much energy, or whenever your character comes across a harmful item, have them, take that much energy away from your character. Or whenever your character comes across an item like a building or a chair or a shoe, it has no effect on the character. So aside from printing it out, we would do something different in this line of code right here. But that's basically your very first glance at how games and programs work with files in a useful program. So I'm glad I could teach this tutorial, finally make a program that's useful instead of teaching guys just the core concepts. I know a lot of you guys were complaining that I was just teaching you the concepts and you guys never really got to see how a program was put together. So hopefully here's a nice little look at how it works. So thank you guys for watching one last time. Thank you guys so much for subscribing, and I'm excited to move on to the next topic. So hopefully we're done working with files, at least for now. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.